Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This will be the start of a slightly new topic which is still based on the Black's left 3-step tiger. In this spot we'll be introducing the deferred opposite direction cannons variation. This is a very big topic in Xiangqi, one of my personal favorites, and again I would like to take the opportunity to thank Master Wenqing and Grandmaster Zhang for giving me permission to do this video. So without further ado, let us begin. Now, central cannon. Black protects the central pawn. H2 plus 3. Black develops the chariot. P3 plus 1 as red plays the third pawn. And black goes for the 3-step tiger. H8 plus 9 for the double proper horses. And this would be the major topic of discussion for the next few videos. Instead of playing c2 equals to 5 for the first move, black would play the opposite direction cannons. This is called the opposite direction cannons because red will play c2 equals to 5 and black would do likewise, so that the cannon that is moved to the central file will come from opposite flanks. This is a very old opening which started as early as the same direction cannons in the past, but technically speaking, the same direction cannons and opposite direction cannons are very different in nature. They are both very aggressive, but there are many differences between these two. In the past, playing the opposite direction cannons for the first move used to be very popular, but has seen a huge decline later because there are many inadequacies in the way it was played. But this opening system was revived in modern times, whereby black would still play the opposite direction cannons, but at a much later date after consolidating one of the flanks. One of the biggest characteristics of the opposite direction cannons is that usually it would end up with both colors attacking one flank. And as with the same direction cannons, there's little margin for error. Often there are many huge trade-offs early in the game, which would result in sometimes drawish situations. But again, as I mentioned, there is little room for error, which makes it one of the favorite of aggressive or proactive players taking black. There are few Xiangqi players who are known for playing the different opposite direction cannons. For example, Master Jin from China, from Taiwan, my very good friend, Mr. Zhao Yifan, international master, also loves this opening a lot. So let us see what Master Wenqing and Grandmaster Zhang have for us in this Tabia. After c2 equals to 5, red will usually develop his left chariot. Black will do likewise for both proper horses to strengthen the central file. And in this spot, the red will play p7 plus 1 for the double-headed snake pawns to limit both the black horses. And black will develop his right chariot as a rank chariot. Now this is one way of countering by black, whereby black would hope to use the chariots to use the speed of the chariots early in the game to counter the effects of red's double-headed snake pawns. Now this will be a strategy of using speed against black's steadfast but slow approach. And this would be the position. This will be the position of discussion for our first board, whereby red will play the 5-9 cannons or traverse his cannon to the left to give his chariot an open file to move. So there are two main variations that are discussed at this point. The first would be R8 plus 4 and the other would be R1 equals to 4. So with variation A, black would patrol the riverbank with R8 plus 4. One of the main ideas behind this move is that when the opponent has the double-headed snake pawns, the chariot is moved to the riverbank so that black could trade pawns to free his horses or develop his horses later on. And this In this particular situation, Black has another rank Chariot, which uh, Black would hope would allow him to trade material and gain some form of initiative. Uh, Red would usually offer a trade of material, forcing Black to decide whether he wanted to trade chariots. If he did, the pawns would still be present. Black would not have developed his chariot, but if he moved away, Black would have used up one move. And where usually the chariot can only be moved to this intersection or this intersection, whereby it will be vulnerable to attacks by the red horse. But with the presence of the rank chariot, Black would play R1 equals to 8 to force a trade of material. And after trading material, uh, Black would have only one chariot left, and thus the might of his potential counter-attack would have greatly slowed down. It's imperative for Red to make this play. So at this point in time, Red will play c5 equals to 1. This is a very implicit but very powerful move. This would discourage Black from pushing the pawn to offer trade of material, and would ensure that Red will be able to keep his double-headed stick pawns alive. Now, if r8 plus 6 were moved to attack the pawn and the horse, Black could counter with p3 plus 1. p7 plus 1 would also be viable, whereby the other horse would be moved. But in the book, p3 plus 1 was exemplified. Black could be very aggressive. Now, Black cannot capture the horse. Like say for example, if Black captured the horse, Black would go for a discover check, whereby this cannon would now target. For example, this cannon will now capture the chariot, and no matter where the horse moved for discover check, Black will counter. Let's say for example, if Red played c5 plus 6 to threaten the cannon, Black will play c4, c3 equals to 5, and have an extra chariot in a winning position. Now, if let's say Red played h5 plus 4, Black will defend in this manner, or e7 plus 5, etc. But the horse will not be protected by the cannon, and again the presence of the black chariot will be a major threat. So that is why Red cannot capture the black horse. And in the very main variation, Black would capture the pawn, and Black would seize the advantage by playing c5 minus 1. This would be somewhat of the Squirrel's defense formation, whereby Black would now play c5 equals to 3 to attack this file, and Black would seize the advantage. So that is why r8 plus 6 is usually not advised. So instead, an implicit move would be for Red to play c5 minus 1 first. And Black would usually try to command this rip file. Now, p3 plus 1 to offer a trade of pawns would not be a good idea, because Black would, after trading pawns, Red will play c8 plus 2 to protect the horse, and the cannon will now be ready to play c5 equals to 7 to attack the flank, the elephant in this flank. This will be a third file. Black's third file will be a target of attack for Red, and Red would have a nice attack going on. So that is why r8 equals to 4 is played instead of p3 plus 1. Black will now, since the cannon was retreated, Red will now play r8 plus 6, and the chariot will now pin the material and force Black to attack from the central file with p5 plus 1. Black is attacked from all directions, and Red would have Black would have difficulty dealing with this, so Red would have advantage. So this would be variation A. Now in variation B, Black would play r1 equals to 4. As he prepares, the chariot is moved here to command this root file, prevent h7 plus 6 from happening, and this chariot will later be prepared to move to the pawn rank over here to attack this horse. This is a much more proactive counter for black. Red would do something similar, r4 plus 5, and it will at this time be advised for red to play h7 plus 8, whereby p7 plus 1 for its next move would now threaten the black chariot. Now, it would not be a good idea again to capture the cannon, which again cannot be captured, or black would have c5 plus 4. And black will simply play c5 minus 1 to protect the horse, and c5 equals to 3 to attack this file. Now, one of the major insufficiencies or weaknesses when red plays the 5-9 cannon is that this elephant cannot move to either place and either of these intersections, and it will become a vulnerable target of attack. Now, this is often exploited by the enemy. So h7 plus 8 is advocated, and black would play h4 plus 3 to prepare to capture the enemy elephant. Now, at this point in time, by the 9th ply, the situation has become very tense, which is one of the characteristics of the opposite direction cannons. Now, r4 equals to 2 would not be a good idea because red would simply push the chariot forward, and red could continue with h8 plus 9 to trade chariots, and black will have to worry about having fewer pawns. And the number of pawns is usually a deciding factor in this opening direction system, opposite direction cannons opening system, because the pawns usually, both colors will fight for the pawn advantage, as it will become a very significant role. You'll play a significant role going to the endgame. So r4 equals 2 is not advised. Instead, r4 equals to 3 to threaten the elephant was suggested. Red would, of course, refuse to let his elephant go down and protect the cannon elephant in this manner by moving the cannon, which is protected by the horse over here. And black will play r8 plus 4. Red will now play c5 equals to 1, again targeting his file. As mentioned earlier, one of the characteristics of the opposite direction cannons is that both colors will usually end up attacking one flank, as can be seen here. Black will push the pawn, and red will do likewise. Now, the situation formed now by the 12th ply is very complicated. Both colors will be attacking. Red has c5 equals to 7 as a measure, and he will have concentrated 4 main pieces attacking his flank. There are many very interesting variations, but unfortunately, according to the authors, due to the scope of the book, this variation was discussed until here. So in this board, let us give a quick summary of this board as black. Now, in this board, this would be the position of discussion. So let's go over it. Central cannon, 3-step tiger, and the deferred opposite direction cannons. Red will go for the double-headed stick pawns, and black will develop his right chariot. c5 equals 9 for the 5-9 cannons to develop the chariot. Two variations. Variation A, r8 plus 4 would seem to be not as good as playing r1 equals to 4. Red will offer a trade on chariots, and after trading chariots, the power of black's counterattack will be greatly diminished. c5 minus 1 will be a very implicit and powerful move, and black will counter r equals to 4. Red will attack likewise, and black will be forced to push the central pawn forward, and this black can attack from all directions. r8 equals to 7 is a very powerful attack, and red will have an advantage. Variation B, r1 equals to 4, which is in my opinion much better. I will usually play this as black, and red would attack with r8 plus 6, r4 plus 5, and red will move the horse to safety, giving space for c9 equals to 7. And as mentioned earlier, r4 is 3 is better than r4 equals to 2, or red will simply be prepared to trade chariots. Red will play China equals to 7, and the situation was very complicated, and by the 12 plus both colors were added. So this both colors would have their chances. Black would have a very playable game, and red would of course have something similar. As can be seen, it's very easy for the game to progress into the flank game, and the room for error would be slight, and both colors will have to be aggressive, be bold, and be prepared to sacrifice material. So I hope you've enjoyed the video of this opening system. I quite like it a lot, and I sometimes play as black, especially when the opponent, let's say central cannon, especially when the opponent refuses to develop the chariot. So if he did, I would often go for the three-step tiger or the left the left cannon blockade, followed by the opposite direction cannons. I play this variation quite a bit, and I think it's very fun, very exciting, and not for the weak of heart. So if you like the work that I've been doing, please do subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you.